Hello YouTube. We're going to be talking about the top 10 tips and tricks you should know before getting into Tales of Seikyu. So let's get started. Tip number 1. Fertilizer. Let's talk about fertilizer. You see this thing? Yeah, this thing right here? Yeah, we love that. Fertilizer is easily the most important thing you can get in Tales of Seikyu. It is incredibly easy to produce, as it requires only one resin to craft, which you can obtain by chopping down trees. You can craft it anywhere, you don't need a crafting bench, and you know the recipe right from the start of the game. Now, fertilizer will cut down the time it takes for your crops to grow dramatically. However, it is important to note that as you increase the amount of crops you have, it will also increase the amount of fertilizer you're going to need if you want to apply it to all of your crops. Tip number 2. Which crops should you be buying? You should absolutely focus on purchasing plants that continue to produce crops after they fully mature. So it takes, 8 to 10 days or however long for it to fully mature, and then after that, it will produce additional crops every 3 to 4 days, right? Granted, you can purchase any crop in this game, and you'll still make a good profit, right? But not having to worry about replanting those crops every single time you harvest them is such a blessing. So do yourself a favor, save yourself the hassle, and just buy a crop that you don't ever have to plant again, right? Tip number 3. Your first land expansion is super important. After buying your first land expansion, you don't really have to worry as much about getting another one until later, or until you feel ready to expand your crop production. Personally, I felt as having 2 crop fields was plenty and it was very manageable. So some info though on the land expansions is that it gives you one more plot to grow crops on, right? And each plot holds 18 crops. It's a 6x3 grid plot. Personally, for me, I felt as having 2 crop fields was plenty. It was doable. Anything more than that, and I felt as I was going to have to spend the whole day farming trees for resin for basic fertilizer, right? Tip number 4. As it gets closer to the end of a season or a month in game, you'll want to save up as much gold as you possibly can. This is because in the new season, you will have to buy a new set of crops. So if you're growing potatoes in spring, you will not be able to continue growing them in summer. Instead, you will need to buy new plants that are summer specific. Personally, I like to try to make as much as I can 5 to 10 days beforehand by applying basic fertilizer to every single plant every single day. It might be a bit excessive, I know, but we're here to make money, guys. Alright? There's no time for rest, alright? Tip number 5. You'll want to make the massive ore crushing pickaxe, as it's called, as soon as possible. You'll be able to forge this item or purchase it from the blacksmith after you complete the quest grand opening from him. This pickaxe is going to allow you to mine tougher ore veins, but more than that, it is a good combat weapon. The basic attacks are very, very slow. So something that I kind of did was jump attacks. I would always jump attack the enemies and the ore veins. It uses less energy and it does a lot of damage. And there's also one other thing about the pickaxe that is really, really helpful. Is that you can use the pickaxe's jump attack to reach certain parts of the fox rune that you couldn't reach before, right? So when you go into a room and there's just a ledge and then an opposite ledge, but no way to walk over, you can use that jump attack to literally hook onto the other ledge and get over there. And I'll show you an example of it right here. Tip number 6. As mentioned in the previous tip, you can reach difficult places within the fox rune by using the pickaxe's jump attack. Well, you can use this jump attack to obtain a really good weapon early on in the game called the Decayed Greatsword. While it is not the best, nor is the weapon's location a hidden secret, it can be quite difficult to reach without using the pickaxe's jump attack. Tip number 7. You can only give one gift per day for each individual. So you want to make sure that you give them gifts that they either like or that is their favorite, right? And you can check this by going to the affinity tab, clicking on the person that you're interested in, and previewing what items have you given them that they liked, that was their favorite, that they disliked, or hate. And you'll be able to identify more items the more items you gift them. So if you give them a potato, they might really, really like potatoes and it'll be on their favorite list, for example, right? Tip number 8. Save as many white crystals as possible. Now they are used to make the universal dye, which is, the best kind. You can select any color you want with the universal dye. However, you can purchase these universal dyes from the general store. You cannot purchase white crystals. So they are really, really good, really, really important, and much harder to get than universal dyes. And why they are good is because everyone loves white crystals as gifts. It is their favorite. It's a kind of like a universal gift, if you will. It's going to work with everyone. It's great. So definitely keep that for when you are invested in someone you're interested in. You want to just basically get as good as a reputation with them as soon as possible. White crystals are the way. Tip number 9. Pay a visit to the Inari Temple when you can. There, you'll be able to make offerings at the altars, and you should keep note of what materials are required for each season. Something I did was that I took note of what materials were required for that specific season, and I put those items into a separate chest. And so once I met the required amount, I would take it all, go to the temple, and complete that task, right? Now, the rewards from completing these donations to the altars, they're nothing game breaking, all right? You're not going to get a triple S plus, sword. It's not gonna happen, right? What you are going to get is different parts of an outfit that you can use later. And so the offerings are not really that bad. They're not daunting. They're not asking you to give you, everything and then some, right? They're fairly reasonable, and you get a nice little outfit. The big thing is that if you wait until you want those pieces of that outfit, right, and then you start collecting, it's going to take a minute, right? If you just collect over time and it piles up, it's going to be so much easier. Just kind of collect as you go, right? Tip number 10. Upon unlocking a new yokai form, you should go and check out what each form's upgrades are, right? And so this is really, really important because those upgrades for those forms can cost quite a bit of gold, all right? And so if you kind of overlook those yokai form upgrades and then later you want to upgrade them, by then you may not have that money. You may have spent all that money either upgrading your house, expanding your farm, or buying new fancy clothes. So when you get that new form, you should look at it and see if those upgrades are something that interests you and something you want to work towards or set aside gold for, right? Because, if you wait and you look at it and you're going to be, oh, it's going to cost me 2,000 gold each time to upgrade, it can be pretty rough. Alright, that is my top 10 tips and tricks for players just getting into Tales of Seikyu. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving the video a like, or subscribing for more content on Tales of Seikyu, or consider following me on Twitch, where I stream a variety of games like Stardew Valley and other life sims. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a good one. Bye bye!